Well, folks, I think it's about time I do a little bit of an update on what's been going on with the fishing and this winter. Obviously, as you can tell, we've been doing an awful lot of fly tying, basically taking advantage of all this cold weather we're having, snow we're having, and everything being iced up, and trying to get a bunch of fly tying done, which is a really good time because once things break loose, we're going to be fishing, and I'm not going to have much time to get much flies done. So we're working at it. So before I get going, I have a quick question I'd like to ask, and please everybody answer in the comments. How many of you are trout fishermen? And would like to do a couple of fly tying videos where I show the fly pattern that was developed by my father-in-law, Carl Coleman, and it's a dry fly pattern. It's a burnt wing. I was going to tie it in a sulfur and then in a blue wing olive. It's a pattern that was very much known for out of his fly shop, and I tied just gaggles of them for him over the years, and it's my favorite dry fly pattern. But it's done with a burnt wing. It's a really neat silhouette to the fly, very effective over very finicky fish. In fact, this style of fly was developed in the Spring Creek at Caledonia back in the heyday when that water had an incredible amount of incredibly high skilled fishing pressure. But anyways, please answer in the comments who are trout fishermen, how many of you would like to see some trout flies, what kind of trout flies you'd like me to tie. But I was going to do these burnt wings for you trout fishermen. I'm still curious to see how many people here that do watch these videos are trout fishermen. So let's get on with what's going on with the fishing. First and foremost, outside of the Salmon River, everything is iced up. I mean, we're still iced up out here in western New York. Looks like we're going to be iced up for probably at least another 2 to 3 weeks of shooting this report. So everything's kind of in a holding pattern. I always wait, to see what the snowpack is before I really start talking about what I'm going to do in the spring. Obviously, we got a big snowpack up on the Salmon River. We got a snowpack out in western New York. Everything's iced up. So what that's done is we've had a normal winter, and that's putting our fishing back onto a normal fishing schedule. So our books are open. If you want to do some spring steelhead fishing, I have a good grasp on the timing. If Mother Nature runs a normal cycle, please understand Mother Nature is bipolar. She operates under her own scattered, sporadic rules, but for the most part, we should be on a normal schedule. So our books are open. Starting out, I'm going to be doing some March fishing in our local small streams, looking for some last chance brown trout. About mid-March, that water is definitely should be blown open and will be operating. I'm going to do a little bit of steelheading, basically on our creeks and oak. Oak can fish fantastic in the spring, and it doesn't get the normal pressure that you see in the fall. Nowhere near, maybe 5% of the fishing pressure. But anyways, that's going to be fishing pretty good. I'm going to be operating on that until about mid-April. And then from mid-April, it'll be the Salmon River until probably certainly the second week of May this year. With all the snowpack and all the cold water's going to be coming through, we're going to be chasing dropbacks into week 2 of May without any trouble this year, which is great because May is what we call swing season. It's us, the steelhead, and a few black flies. Not a lot of fishing pressure, but some very good steelhead fishing on the swing, chasing these dropbacks, which are eating. So that's kind of my schedule right there. So we do have plenty of dates open, both myself, Ricky, and George. So we're going to be operating up there. That's kind of what it looks like for our schedule. We're going to have a lot of water on the salmon. We're going to probably be dealing with a lot of high water, but that's not a problem at all in the spring for us. We do like higher than average water. We actually find better fishing in that when the water's 1,500, 2,000, believe it or not. If you wonder why I fish with us, we'll find out. And also in western New York, I love muddy water. It looks like we're going to have all those conditions this spring, and it looks like we're going to have a normal spring and normal timing. Really not a lot of fish at all moving in western New York. That water is low, it's iced, there's nothing moving. However, on the Salmon River, there is some fishing. You know, like this morning when I'm recording this, I think it's like 5 up there, 5 degrees. So these mornings are always slush. Shooting this video, we're talking about some real weather hitting it up there this weekend. Some real snows, probably up to 15 inches. So if you do get a break in the weather and you do make a go for it, there is fish trickling through. I talked to Garrett, the manager at the Douglas and Salmon Run. He says there is some open water on the run, like the Glide, the flats, and so on, but a lot of shelf ice. It's real sketchy. I personally would not recommend fishing there until all that ice blows out. But the interesting news is the few hardcores, the guys that really know how to maneuver and operate down there, they are finding some fish periodically. So what's that's telling me that there's some fish trickling in. They've been trickling all winter. There's some fish in the mid-river, like around Sportsman's. Sportsman's, they do hold in there, but they're picking up, you know, a fish or two out of there. So that tells me that we've been having fish trickling all winter. Your best fishing on the salmon is actually the lower fly zone down to about Alice Cove. This is very typical of this time of the year. Also, what's really typical of this time of the year is the bite is really on and off. I know Derek, he did a float trip a little while ago, and they were really struggling all day. Then the sun got on the water, it got kind of warm and sunny, the wind dropped, and they had like a 2-hour window where they picked up a couple of fish. So that's kind of what's been going on. So it's really not, it's basically the winter grind. I suspect that's going to improve next month. To get into March, we start getting some more sunnier weather. That sun gets on the water, there's a winter stonefly that'll get active, and that river could literally just come alive with stoneflies. The fish can act like trout, wintering trout, and get keyed in on that. So we could have some pretty decent March fishing. There's plenty of fish up there. They're just crabby. They don't want to play. You know, cold mornings, snowy mornings, you have a lot of slush in the river. So it's really tough fishing right now. So that's kind of what's going on in the salmon. I do suspect that to turn around, we could have a little window of March fishing on the Salmon River. The problem is we get that, still got these winter conditions, but that winter weather temperature is starting to moderate. We're starting to get more daytime highs in the 30s, maybe at the edge of freezing, but yet it's not really that warm, and there's usually about 2 or 3 weeks, and then it gets warm, and then the river just explodes. So then we get that runoff coming off the hill. So when we're having that runoff coming off the Tug Hill in late March, I'm back in Western New York, and I got 45-degree water, by the way. That water runoff coming off the Tug, you know, coming off that snowpack, that's all snow melt. That's 31 degrees. It's liquid ice. You know, think about it. You're up there. That's 1,500, 2,000 CFS coming down through there. You know, that plus some runoff. Pineville gauges are reading over 2,000. You know, that water's 31 degrees. Those fish still think it's the middle of winter. They're just anchored in the bottom of some deep pool and some soft water. It's hard to access them. You know, that's why I stay in Western New York at that time, kind of avoid that runoff water. And then about mid-April, most of that snow's gone. The ice is off the reservoirs that feed the Salmon River to get a little sunshine in there. Now we're starting to get into 40 degrees about mid-April, and things can turn on the Salmon River. So that's kind of the plan. My plan for the spring. That's kind of what's going on. So it's still a lot of fly tying. We'll be using that Steely Crack soon enough. And so that's what's with us. That's what's kind of what's going on. You know, we're in a winter grind, so we're just producing a lot of flies. Our books are open for the spring, so if anybody's interested in spring things, you know, feel free to contact me. We can talk about your options and what's going on. So anyways, once again, if somebody's interested, or you know, you trout guys, please leave a comment down below. Tell them, yes, I'm a trout fishing. No, I'm primarily steelhead fishing. I'm a saltwater guy. Hey, I'd like to see this fly tied, if you don't mind. Hey, I got a problem. Could you talk about a certain technique? Please leave those in the comments. And as always, since we'll be sending this stuff up, you don't want to miss it, hit that subscribe button and that little bell icon so you can keep up with what's going on. So, well, I'm going to get back to tying flies, folks, because we're going to need them. See you in the water. This is Jay at JPEG Guides. and Lost River Fishing. We are a year-round fly fishing catch and release guide service. We fish the Lake Ontario tributaries, and then during the spring and the summer we also fish the inland trout streams, classic dry fly fishing. During the heat of the summer we will do the warm water fishing for bass and pike. If you're interested in any of our outings or have any questions, please feel free to email us at fish@lostriversfishing.com. Hope to hear from you, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact us.